Greetings, everybody. This is Solving Life's Problem with Emeka. Today, we begin to look at different approaches and responses to problem. First, some people approach problems by avoiding them. To them, instead of tackling problems as they come, they try to avoid it. And I will give you an example. There are some countries in the world today that are experiencing decline in their population. And one of the reasons for such decline in population is that their men and women avoid the problem associated with marriage. They don't want to have children. They don't want to train children to school. They don't want to deal with the problems that marriage and childbearing will bring about. They don't want to deal with issues of divorce and such things. And so they rather choose not to marry and then focus on their career. The consequence is that in countries where this is common and prevalent, their populations begin to decline. But we must know that avoiding problems doesn't solve them. Problems only go away when we decide to approach the problem, accept that it's a fact and it's a reality, and seek for solutions to them. Now, when people choose to avoid their problems, inadvertently, they are creating and complicating the problems. For instance, in the countries I referred to, where their men and women choose not to marry, the unintended consequences of their action is that their nation goes into, the population of their nation goes into decline. And as a result, they begin to lack adequate labor force to run their industries, to run their economy. And so you could see that avoiding a problem only creates more problems. Perhaps if they don't do anything in such countries, a time will come when their countries will go into oblivion. Some other people don't avoid their problems, but they deny it. The psychologists call it cognitive dissonance, which means that what is real and in existence differs from the perception and response of the persons that the problem is associated with. They rather behave like the ostrich that hides its head in the sand while exposing the rest part of the body. And so people who approach problems this way, they don't want to face their problems. They deny it. They find all means to deny their problems instead of facing their problems and tackling it. And there are some reasons why people do this. One of them is religious. Some religious people don't want to admit that they are sick. So when they are sick and you ask them if they are sick, they tell you they are not sick. In fact, they will tell you they are strong or they are well. Okay? Because maybe their religious teaching tells them that denying the problem, one way or the other, will bring about a solution. But problems never go away because you denied it. Some other people deny their problems because of their selfish interests. For instance, I live in a country that is notably corrupt. And governments over the years have been quite inept and incompetent. But sometimes it's shocking to listen to people who profit from such governments defend vociferously the activities of such governments. And then you wonder, is it that they're not seeing the rot in the country? Is it that they're not seeing the incompetence of the government? They see all those, but they continue to live in denial because they profit from such systems. And so people may deny problem because of their selfish interest. So in this case, it's political interest, their economic interest will becloud their sense of reasoning and acceptance of the problem. There are also people who deny their problems as a result of medical reasons. Psychiatrists will tell you that one of the major challenges of dealing with psychiatry, dealing with people who have mental health issues, is getting them to acknowledge that they have a problem. Usually they refer to it as insight. Most people who have mental health problems hardly accept that they have mental health problems. They don't have insight into their problems. As a matter of fact, it is believed that the moment they gain insight into their problems, they begin to cooperate with their caregivers and the doctors in finding solutions. So in this case, they are denying their problems as a result of their lack of insight, and it is medical. Some people also deny their problems because the denial serves as an opium that helps them to douse the effect of the problems in their mind. And so they would rather live in denial, because by doing so, it enables them to put a cover on the enormity of the problems as it exists in their mind. But you see, whether it is for medical reasons, selfish interest, to douse their psyche, or even for religious reasons, it doesn't take the problems away. The problems will linger as long as you don't do anything about it. So the earlier the denialists realize that they need to rise up, accept their problems, and deal with it, or deal with them, the problems won't get away. Some other people dismiss their problems. Their approach to problem is to dismissal. The approach to problem is dismissal. They just dismiss the problem with a wave of hand. They will tell you that the problem means nothing. Now, they do this when the problem doesn't fit into their perception, their beliefs, and their findings. I often hear people say that something must kill a man. Sometimes you tell them that they are alcoholic, or they are doing something that is inimical to their lives, their health. And they will tell you, oh, something must kill a man. By doing that, they are dismissing the problem with such statements. In other words, they don't want to face the problem. They would rather dismiss it with such statements, offhandedly like that. I recall a story many years ago. I was talking to a friend about the activities of demons in human life, and he dismissed it right away. He told me there's nothing like demonic activities. In fact, it doesn't exist. It only exists in the minds and the imaginations of people like me. In fact, he even said that even if it does exist at all, it only exists because people like me meddle with them. How I wish life problems are dealt with like that. Whether you dismiss life problems or not, they are there. Whether you agree or accept the fact that life problem exists or not, they are there. And so, the reason we're looking at these approaches to life problems is that going forward, it is important to understand why we as individuals, in our peculiar ways, respond to problems the way we do. If we don't understand this, it will affect your ability to tackle the problems of your life. Dismissal doesn't negate the fact that problems exist. Neither does it solve the problems. So, the earlier those who dismiss their problems accept that problems will exist, and they do exist, irrespective of our approach, the better. Some others minimize their problems. For those who are familiar with the use of computer, sometimes when you are working with a computer, and then you could minimize a window. When you minimize a window, it vanishes from your screen momentarily. You could pull up a new window to work on, but that doesn't mean that the other window you have minimized doesn't exist. There are people who attend to life problems in that manner. They minimize their problems. They make their problems look very simple. Okay? They make their problems look ineffective. But that doesn't change the fact that the problems are there. Okay? You hear people make comments about, just forget it. When they are doing that, when they are saying that, they are using that to minimize the problem because they don't want to take specific action. They don't want to face the problem. They don't want to respond to the problem as they should. So they just say, forget it. They are minimizing the problem. But minimizing the problem doesn't solve it. People respond to habits. People respond to health challenges. People respond to many issues of life in this manner. They make it look simple. They act as if it doesn't really matter. They act as if it is unimportant. But you see, minimizing problems doesn't solve problems. Rather, we are encouraged when life's problems come to make proper assessment of the problems and to deal with the problems accordingly.